So when they first released the CSL DD and its strangely same but different cousin, the GT DD Pro, which is what I have, were kind of considered the best bang for your buck options at the time. They started at 5 Newton meters, and with the boost kit, gave you 8 Newton meters of peak force feedback, which at the time was pretty sweet. Since then, brands like Simagic and Moza have come out with more advanced, higher peak force feedback wheelbases. Brands like SimuCube have figured out how to make even better wheelbases. iRacing released 360 Hz native force feedback, which everyone decided to go with except for Fanatec for whatever reason. And in 2026, the CSL DD kinda sucks. Until today. And this is not just clickbait, although maybe a little bit.
iRacing doesn't have an intro, 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 doesn't have an intro. iRacing doesn't have an intro, so I made this shitty one using EI. I might make a real one in the future, but right now it's out of the budget. So stay tuned if you want to watch a guy who only kind of knows what he's doing. Try to explain it to someone else while also trying to figure out how to make a YouTube channel. We're talking about things like sim racing and 3D printing and making stuff and fixing stuff you did wrong the first time you did it. This is gonna be totally worth your time. Totally worth your time. This is gonna be totally worth your time.
So today Fanatec, or Fanatec, released a firmware update bringing full force to the CSL wheelbase line. Full force is a feature that was teased a few years ago when they first started releasing the higher level club sport wheelbases. Basically, it's their answer for 360 Hz force feedback. Instead of enriching the force feedback with more detail, their solution is to add sort of a secondary layer of effects on top of your base force feedback. Ugh. The idea being that you can get more detail through the steering wheel when it comes to effects like shifting gears, curb strikes, road texture, tire attitude. And Fanatec's official documentation calls this an immersive feature, something that's fun for trying to get more of the feeling of driving, but it's not meant to be a performance benefit, unlike 360 Hz native force feedback. Now, this might be a hot take, because realistically I've only been testing this for like a couple hours, but I think specifically on the CSL DD line, whether you're at 5 or 8 Newton meters peak, full force is actually kind of a W when it comes to performance. So if you jump on your computer today, download the new update for your CSL DD, activate full force, and jump on iRacing, is it going to make you faster? That depends. The reality is, if you turn on full force and don't see a pace difference, that's a you problem. And here's why. What full force is doing is giving you more information about the car to work with. It's not going to just magically make you go faster. It's just telling you more shit about what the tires are doing and what the road surface feels like underneath your car, like a real car. The reason why this is useful is because on a wheelbase like the CSL DD, where you only have 5 to 8 Newton meters of peak force available, there's not enough dynamic range for the wheelbase to express all of the forces that a car is going to do. in order to get anywhere near what a peak force is going to feel like, it's not going to be able to have the same dynamic range on the low end and give you the really fine, granular details. And that's what makes like really high Newton meter wheelbases really good, is that because they have like 15, 20 Newton meters of peak force, they have a more granular ability to deliver the entire range of forces from the sim to your wheelbase. So a curb strike's going to feel a lot harder, but steering isn't going to feel necessarily any different if you have it all set up correctly. And so here's the rub for CSL DD users like me. Most of us have our force feedback cranked up a little higher than it should be. We get that shaky wheel effect when we let go of the steering wheel. And the reason we do that is because our 8 Newton meters is dulling the mid-range effects, and we want more holding forces. Whether you understand it or not, that's why you've chosen to do that. Now the problem is that introduces clipping if you raise it enough to make it feel effective. It makes your steering heavy as shit, which is not really realistic. And that's a trade-off that's not really worth making to be able to feel lower end forces. And the interesting thing is, when it comes to that last little bit of pace and going faster and having that next level of car control, those little forces are kind of like the most important thing. Feeling the scrub of the tires and the imperfections in the road on a granular level allow you to make little micro corrections that will help you go faster. And on a wheelbase like the CSL DD, without full force, you don't really get enough of those granular details to make the right decisions on the limit. And so, while Fanatec's advertising full force as an immersive feature that's for entertainment purposes, I guess, my hot take is, oh shit. Wow, that was weird. What happened? Maybe I just got a Fanatec gremlin, that's fun. We'll figure that out later. So my hot take is, full force on these lower torque wheelbases is actually a performance feature. Something you probably don't need if you have 15 or 20 Newton meters of peak force available to you. But when you're lacking the dynamic range of that high torque force feedback peak in a wheelbase like this, having full force giving you an analog for some of those granular low end forces gives you a little bit of a leg up. It allows you to tell where the grip is and when you're getting really close to the limit. And now that I've turned it on and used it some, I honestly don't think I can drive with it turned off. I got back on earlier and tried it for a few minutes, and I was spinning out a lot more, having a hard time keeping a consistent lap time. Overall, just having a little bit of a harder time driving without the full force details there. Honestly, I've just been driving around having fun and talking. I had notes, but I lost track of them a while ago. So, I guess if you're watching this, you're probably wondering what it feels like, because you have yet to upgrade yourself, and you're unsure because you don't want to break your wheelbase, because that's what Fanatec upgrades tend to do. So, I mean, I did just have that one weird thing happen, but aside from that, it seems like it's been good so far. The feeling, right? The trade-off. I pretty much just have this at the default settings right now. I think I knocked the road texture up just a little bit, and that's about it. But for me, when I first put this on, my entire intention was to try to just get some of those slower speed and more granular forces coming through. So that's what I was really looking for in the setup. And I mean, it delivers. I'm a fan of haptics as part of a sim rig, again, not just for immersion, but for actual feedback and information. Just like in a real car, your body gives you information about the attitude of the car, the grip levels available and all that, how fast you can go through a corner. And the sim doesn't inherently have the ability to do that without adding some of these sort of haptic features. And I feel like Full Force is like a next level version of that because it puts it through your wheelbase. And so with it turned off, it feels like a normal direct drive wheelbase. And with Full Force turned on, it feels a lot more like a real car. I can feel grit coming through as I turn the wheel, kind of increasing in gain. I can feel little tiny bumps and scratchy feelings through the wheel when I touch curbs or change surfaces, like right there. It's not just the kick of the force feedback, it's like more of a scrubby, grindy feeling, just like in a real car. I've never driven a Formula car on slicks before, but my street car has a similar sensation that comes through in the front end. I feel like it's helping me modulate the brakes a little more too, in a really weird kind of like passive way, where because I can feel the grip up front better, I'm going deep into a braking zone and getting to that lift and turn in moment. Kind of helps me feel that last little bit of detail I'm looking for about when I'm supposed to let go and stuff. So, what's this video about, I guess? We're talking about true force, full force. We're talking about full force. We're talking about full force, and should you get it? Is it a gimmick? Is it good? Is my clickbait title about it being a performance benefit real? I don't know, and who fucking cares, right? This is a toy made for pretending to go car racing on the computer. And it was perfectly fine before. You know, it doesn't suck, but it's not the best out there in 2026. But that said, with this Full Force update, I think the value proposition on the CSL DD line just changed significantly. Before, I felt like I was dying to upgrade my wheelbase to something with more torque because, well, not because I wanted to have more peak forces. 8 Newton meters honestly gives me plenty. I'm here to pretend to race. I honestly don't want to feel the real forces of the steering wheel. But at the same time, I do want to make sure I'm getting enough information to be able to drive the same way I would drive a real car, which is mostly through feel. And before this update, like I said, I was dying to upgrade because I definitely felt like I wasn't getting enough through the wheelbase. And after, which is right now, I honestly don't know if I'm so worried about it anymore. The additional Full Force texture that I'm getting here is giving me a significant boost in my pace and consistency. My personal best here at VIR, which is a track that I've actually driven it in real life and spent a lot of time as a kid watching other people racing here, talking to real drivers about racing and driving here. So I like to think that I'm pretty decent at driving at VIR in general. And I decided to test the Full Force update on the SF Lights because it's a car I'm very comfortable in, and it's probably my most driven car in iRacing. And when I came into this session, my personal best time ever on the little iRacing box thing was a 141.5. And in this session right now, I just did a 139.9, which is like significantly faster than my fastest lap ever here, which is kind of fucking annoying, to be honest. Now, is this anecdotal information? For sure. I have no idea if there's a real correlation between full force or if I just set a lame lap time as my fastest lap before this. But is it? Let's send it for one lap and see what we can do. This is the next day after the video that you've been watching. And I decided to get back in and check it out because I had that really weird glitch when I was testing and talking about full force yesterday. And I wanted to see if I could replicate it and figure out what's going on with that. You know, is that from the Fanatec firmware update, or, I mean, it probably is related to it, but exactly what's going on, you know? And so today I get in the sim and I'm having like a lot of frame drop stuff going on. My haptics are dropping out while it's happening, which is weird. And the wheelbase is glitching sometimes while that's happening too. So that's cool, because yesterday I only really had the one problem. And today it seems like something different. Okay, so whatever the problem was seems like it figured itself out. I wanted to blame SimHub and say it was the haptics, because at first that was sort of happening, but I restarted SimHub and now it seems fine. So I don't know. Okay, so we got something to happen once. Can we do it again? What am I even doing this for exactly? I don't know. It's not really working now. Oh, god damn. Okay, yeah, so maybe full force is not working now? Which is why my computer is working now? So that's kind of weird. Okay, so full force features are working again. So that's cool. Dude, it did it again at the same fucking place. I feel like they should be doing like a fucking beta test of these features instead of just dropping them like this. Working it out before we get it. So maybe it's the strength thing. I just went through the same sector, arguably on a worse line with like more force going through the wheel. And it didn't glitch out that time. I'm gonna turn it up to 12. So that didn't matter. I don't really understand what that glitch is. That'll do it. So it doesn't have to do with SimHub haptics either. It seems to have to do with like load. Happened in that same spot. I've been having the problem, but like crashing into the car ahead there seemed to make an actual difference. So I think it's pretty definitive to say we've got a problem. From what I can tell, it has something to do with hard curb strikes, which is what people on the internet are saying they're having problems with. Maybe combined with SimHub haptics, because I felt like I was kind of not having problems with that. But I also noticed that it seems like the I can't get this name right. It seems like the full force feature is causing problems, and I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure why, but it was definitely kind of like intermittently turning on and off, both in iRacing, where it was just like on and not working, or like right now, where for some reason the Fanatec app has dumped it back to off, even though I keep turning it on, and it won't let me save the profile. So yeah, when I turned it off on the Fanatec app, it seems to come back, but I honestly can't even tell right now.